Welcome to the Bladtcast, the show that would do anything for love, but it won't do that. The show that is about to issue an ultimatum to Spotify. Basically, if you take down everything that isn't the Bladtcast, otherwise we're leaving.
Yeah.
So that is the kind of clout we have here in podcast land. As always, I am Christian Blatt, joined by the one, the only superstar, William Starling.
Superstar.
Yeah.
Ghetto superstar. That is what you are.
Yeah.
Reaching for the...
That was very Blackish.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I love hearing that right there. Well, I don't know, Jeff, would you think that you're more ghetto or superstar? I'm going to go ahead and let you decide. You make the call.
Well, I live with a Jewish woman, so as it relates to the ghetto.
Well, there's a reason that Will was introduced as a superstar, and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. But to Bladtcast Nation, nothing in the many years of this show is more important than the Willtourage. And this photograph, courtesy of Coltrane, who may or may not be with us today.
Yeah.
If not, he will be with us next show. He took some photos from his television that he wanted to share. He was very excited to be here and talk to Will about it. Will, you were a waiter on Blackish. We talked about it last time. You teased the wrong episode.
Yes, yeah.
So,
it was episode 3, not episode 2.
Not episode 2, but that's
Do you
all
want
right.
a confession? I watched that whole fucking episode twice because I was like, did I miss him?
Oh, see, you're an actual real friend. Like, I watched the episode myself. A lot of people watched it, and you watched it twice.
Yeah,
I'm so sad that I misled people and made people wait.
I watched the first one just once, and then I saw you post like, "Oops, my bad."
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm
Jeff,
saying. I watched the first one twice,
and the
was
second one
what
not at all.
happened? This one I saw him right away. I was like, I will.
That's
But
how
it was one of those like missed opportunities where I was like, oh, you couldn't get an oh boy in there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I was also worried that I was going to get cut out, like my episode of This Is Us many years ago, where nobody tells you, And I was like, watch it, everybody. This is the right episode. I saw the scene come up, and then the scene ended, and I was like, sweet. Well, I wasn't in it. So, Jeff, you're a true member. You're like captain of the Willtourage now. You watched it twice, just out of the goodness of your heart.
And I didn't even say
automatically
anything because
captain.
I didn't want it to be like weird last time we talked about it. I was like, I just won't say anything. I'll just keep that to myself.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Will, what can you tell us about your big network television appearance on Blackish on ABC, which I believe people can probably find it on Hulu and the ABC app?
Yes.
The third episode of the season.
Yes.
Was there more filmed that didn't make the cut? Did you have a little song and dance there? At the
No,
restaurant?
everything that all my lines were in. Actually, I thought
Awesome.
that maybe one got cut, but then I rewatched this. I looked at the whole thing as I was like clipping out my scene for my reel, and I was like, oh, it's all in there. So, no, just a couple lines as a waiter. I love that they gave me a little cutaway just to show my awkward face. That was nice.
I thought that was a good reaction.
Yeah.
But if anything, even if you didn't have any lines, the fact that you got this on-screen credit, co-starring William Starling.
All my friends were like, co-star? Isn't that better than guest star? And I was like, oh, no, it's not. But
you know where the big money is.
You should just
special appearance by.
Oh,
If you had gotten special appearance by Will Starling, you would have probably made like 5 times as much scratch.
nice.
What were you going to say, Jeff?
connect the dot on the I, and you can pretend you played Walter.
As in Ken Walter? Coltrane?
And William Starling as Walter. Who was Walter?
He's that extra Muppet from the Jason Segel Muppet movie. It's like, and here's my friend Walter. Like,
Walter
the waiter.
Well, it was very exciting. Now, was that one of the auditions that you had to cancel on the Bladtcast for? I like to think that I didn't stand in the way. Okay, well,
some of the ones I've canceled a recording for, I've gotten callbacks for. I've done well at my callback game in late 2021, early 2022 is strong, but the booking game is low. So I thought I was on Avail for a State Farm commercial. My agent's like, I'll follow up. And then not even my agent responded to me. And all the days came and went to shoot that commercial. So I was like, going to guess I was let go.
I wanted you to be the new Jake from State Farm.
I would have interacted with Jake from State Farm.
Nice. You would have been Jack, his more handsome brother.
I didn't sign an NDA, but let's say it would have been a super job, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it would have been fun.
You would have been with the soup Nazi.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep. No State Farm for you.
I was just gonna say it.
Endorsing super salad.
But the black this soup plantation, that'd be a good commercial for Christian.
Hold on, pour one out for soup plantation. R.I.P. It didn't make it through the pandemic. It got like a month. It got a month into the pandemic.
Revolution. Sorry.
There was a what revolution?
There was a Nat Turner style revolution
against the soup. It is weird that it's called plantation.
In other parts of the country, it's called Sweet Tomatoes, which is a lot more cuddlier, friendlier name. In California, it was called soup plantation. But you know what it's called now? Empty real estate.
Yeah. Let's see who won that one. But the cool thing about this booking was that actually I think they already had somebody cast and he couldn't do it for some reason. I mean, nobody. I don't need to. They don't need to share that information. But they called my manager and were like, "Hey, can you just come do it?" Yeah. And he was like, "Sure." So it was like 2 days out from when they were shooting, and so the casting director, I've read for them a bunch of times, so they obviously remembered me. Maybe I was a memorable waiter from some other self-tape that they're like, "I like him. He's like waiter number 2." So when waiter number 1.
He looks like if I asked him for more breadsticks, he would bring them.
Yeah,
there was like that Hulu pilot you did where you were a waiter.
I was also a waiter in the Hulu. That's how I got my SAG card. Yeah, I make a great waiter. Let's make. Maybe I could do Still Waiting 3 because they did do number 2 direct to DVD sequel, Still Waiting. But Still Waiting. What's it called?
They were just called Still Waiting. Wasn't that the second one?
I think the third one would be called "Can I See the Manager?"
It's not Karen's, all Karen's, and I'm like, God damn it.
Okay. So where did you go to film that, and how much time did you spend on set?
That was on the Disney lot.
Nice. In Burbank?
Yeah.
Okay, you must have forgotten where I live, but that's okay. Go on.
Sorry, I was there for all day. I don't even know what I was doing before or after that. I mean, I got there at like 8, and then I don't leave until 7. And we shot it all in a studio lot, so it was like a set in soundstage number 7 or whatever it was.
Nice.
Yeah, if people can believe it, a lot of those scenes, it's not a real restaurant.
What?
That you didn't know that about movies.
What?
It's fake. It's a fake restaurant. Fake check. It was a fake bill. It was a fake credit card. It's crazy.
My favorite thing was earlier in the episode when they were literally eating at the Disney commissary outside on the Disney lot because
I have the Fox one too a lot in shows. Yeah.
Well, especially now, it's probably just you have all of your COVID protocols on set, and it's just like let's just eat outside. It's fine. Yeah. Did you have to get tested on arrival, or what was that like? Because these are all, by the way, these are all questions that I've gotten. I think most of these questions I've gotten from Jason Blair. He really wanted to know a lot about your on-set experience. Yeah,
2 tests before I even was able to shoot, and then a test day of. Yeah. So I was like, can you do it? Yes. Okay. You have to test today. You have to test tomorrow. And then when you arrive on Friday, because I think we did shoot on Friday.
Right.
Excuse me. Then a test as soon as I arrived. Yeah.
Well, Sam Whitfield would like you to know that he has a lady friend who is disappointed that you're taken. Oh. I think we all have lady friends who are disappointed you're taken. And let's be honest, a few gentlemen friends who are also sorry that you're taken. We used to work with one.
Listen. Yeah, but he can have Nicole now.
Now I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Oh, I were talking about David.
Okay, we're talking about the same person.
Okay. Producer Cactus Dave.
The engaged Cactus Dave.
That's right. Like a dick joke about him, right?
A dick joke?
Dick joke? The cactus thing?
The cactus, yes.
That was when he was going to be going over to Go Country.
Yeah, his first country station.
And we all still worked for Dennis. And Christian started calling him Cactus Dave, and then it became Cowboy Dave, I think, after that.
Well, there's
But I would
actually a
prefer
basis for
Cactus
that.
Dave.
There in New York in the 80s, there was an afternoon DJ on the top 40 station, Z100. His name was Jack the Whack. I might have even told the story when we happened. Jack the Whack relocated, and he became Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack.
I forget what market he moved to, but
Yeah.
he was no longer Jack the Whack. He was Cactus Jack. So I was just like, clearly you're going to become Cactus Dave. And by the way, he's still just David. He's not Cactus Dave.
Or Cowboy Dave.
No, I thought that would have been good, but he maybe we'll be able to get him to stop by sometime soon on the Bladtcast. But we didn't even get Coltrane to show up today.
Corner him at a rocket.
He does send his regrets. He was very excited to talk. He was excited about the Willtourage. You know, that's number one on Coltrane's agenda.
Yeah,
is all
you guys are all front row
Willtourage.
seats.
Yeah,
You're in the conductors. You're in the little cabin with me. You can wear. I'll give you pins. You wear. You can wear my hat when I fly the plane. You know, whatever
You're
you
gonna
want.
pin me, Will? This is getting serious.
Oh, you bet. You betcha.
Well, who's going to get to wear your jacket? Your with the big W on it. Your Letterman Will's jacket.
We'll let Bujanski wear that.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's
That's
like my Letterman jacket. You know,
As long as he ties it
Letterman
like,
jacket,
with
babe.
the arms around his waist.
Oh
That
yeah,
too.
I was thinking over the shoulders, but you're right. I think
I'll give Coltrane a promise ring.
This was very exciting. And anything else in the pipeline, or just doing well in your callback game, and we'll see what's next? Or have you shot anything that we might see sometime soon, William?
Yes, Pam and Tommy.
Oh,
which
right.
will be on Hulu, I think Tuesday, February.
Wednesday, February.
No, Wednesday, February 2nd.
February 2nd, because
I don't
February
know
1st is
Tommy Lee's dick, or
Yes. Did we talk about this on the show?
I think we did talk about that part of it. Now that you mention it.
The bridesmaids thing, right? I'm sick of I don't have any speaking lines. We'll see how much of me shot in the episode makes it, because I'm standing like right next to Nick Offerman talking with him, but like quietly, and then he turns around and says a line, and I am in a moment with Taylor Schilling. So like it'd be hard to cut me out, but I am wearing a silly costume, so we'll see if people can pick me out. I think it's episode 2, so if they're releasing more than one episode a week, maybe it'll be out on Wednesday.
You'll have to wait. Taylor Schilling, of course, best known from the first in the series of film adaptations of Atlas Shrugged. I'm sure that's what she's best known for.
What?
Yeah. They recast all the actors like 3 times as they made all the sequels as they went along, and she was in the first one. This is before Orange is the New Black.
Before Orange is the New Black. Wow.
Yeah.
and the audience shrugged.
How many of those did they make?
3, and I believe it was too many.
Yeah, I think one was probably too many. But.
Well, you know, it's I can see wanting to adapt a literary work, but you know, there's a really bad Fountainhead from like the 50s, and I think some things don't translate well. What were you going to say, William?
Somebody might surprise you. His like number one passion dream project to be able to make the Fountainhead is Zack Snyder.
Really?
He's wanted to make that forever and ever and ever. And people are like, "Oh, you're gonna get to do it?" He's like, "We'll see. Let's see." I'm like, "This is maybe not the time to make it."
I've heard Robert Downey Jr. speak for years about how much he wants to do a Pinocchio where he's Geppetto, and I'm just like, it doesn't sound like it's great, but how has nobody been like, "Yeah, right, you can do that as long as you make like some other make another Sherlock Holmes for us, and then you can go make Geppetto."
You want more of those Sherlock Holmes?
I mean, I like the ones that I saw. The Benedict Cumberbatch show is great, but I also like those movies. They're different,
They are different. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean, but Sherlock Holmes, basically.
Sherlock of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same format.
Yeah.
With the Hans Zimmer
and Ivan Soto in the chat. Nick Offerman in a drama. Yeah, I mean, look, I
think it's pretty ridiculous. I would say it's probably more of a comedy than a drama.
Yeah.
A comedic retelling.
And coming to the rescue, Raging Rhino, who, by the way, recently had a birthday. Happy birthday, Raging Rhino. The Fountainhead movie was a mess because Ayn Rand wouldn't allow them to change any of her dialogue in the script. Well, that was just a bad licensing deal, because I saw that movie about making Mary Poppins, And she wasn't happy, and Walt was just like, "It's too late. The movie's done." Just I love that. It's like she's like, "Oh, we've got to change. There's so much we have to change," and Walt Disney's just like, "No, the movie's finished. Thanks.
Yeah, let me sit down.
Let me buy your story."
Yeah.
I don't want to get into this hot take with you, Ivan Soto.
Yeah, that's it.
Benedict Cumberbatch, Sherlock Bourne, Johnny Lee Miller's Sherlock show way better. I did not enjoy the Johnny Lee Miller. I like Johnny Lee Miller a lot, especially in the 2 Trainspotting movies. But I like Lucy Liu. Did not enjoy that show. It was just a network procedural. Didn't win me over.
Yeah.
I knew that Raging Rhino had a birthday. It was and he had posted that the day he was born, American Pie by Don McLean was the #1 song. So that gave me the idea for the ongoing feature on Instagram that we're doing at Bladtcast. Bladtcast today, every day we post a link to an episode because we have well more than 365.
Does that mean you're going to post some of the problematic ones where we would all get canceled?
I don't need to do that in the course of this year. Because you have to think about it. So there's 365 days. There will be at least 52 new episodes this year.
That's true.
So I don't need to go that far back.
That's true.
I've posted some older ones just a couple of times, like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 opus. I did that. I don't know if I'll post any of the problematic ones. I would probably listen to them first. That would be fun. Have a little listening party. Anything that has Watto in the description, I'd be like, yeah, let's listen. Let's just see what's going on. Yeah. In any case, because Raging Rhino is coming up in the chat, there's a lot that I do want to cover. I wanted to start with something fun. Will, how many episodes in are you on HBO Max's Peacemaker series, the spinoff from the Suicide Squad, a movie that Will and I saw together in the theater?
Oh, that's right. 2.
So you've still only seen 2.
Yes.
But you get the gist of it.
And there are 5 now.
There are now 5. Yeah.
Okay.
And what is it? First of all, is that a character you had a lot of familiarity with?
No, I honestly, before the movie, I was like, I don't even know. I didn't know a lot of those characters. Like, Ratcatcher 2.
It seemed like the Suicide Squad. It was a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy. Both James Gunn and I don't know who any of these people are.
Right. Polka Dot Man. And
I feel like that was the intention, though, right?
Totally.
He looked up the worst villains and shit just to be like, okay. And I think that's the way to go, especially based on how much fatigue there is with superhero movies. It's like, cool, let's watch the 5th iteration of Batman's parents dying.
Right.
Or you can be like, hey, characters I've never seen before, so a chance at a new story I haven't heard.
Yeah. 2 things, Will. I hope you don't have plans already to see the Batman with someone who's not me, because I would like to see that with you. However, I need to let you know that if in the first 2 minutes Thomas and Martha Wayne get killed, I am going to walk out of the theater and just not see the movie.
You're not going to watch all 3 hours of this movie?
No, I'll still watch it. But I'll walk out of the theater. I'll walk out of the theater and then come
to
back.
pee and then immediately come back.
Yeah.
Movies are getting to a point where I realize I'm like, I have to schedule my whole day around seeing one movie. Like Dune, all these other things. I'm like, by the time the trailers are over, which are also 30 minutes, you're in the theater for 3.5 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then you got to park, you do everything. It's almost 6 hours of your day just to go to the movies, which is that's the work day. So we gotta figure this out.
Jeff, if you were at the movie theater for 6 hours, how many times would you refill that popcorn bucket?
These days, I don't even know if I'd refill it. I've had problems where it's depending on how full up the theater is, I'll just leave my mask on and not eat for half the movie.
Oh, I see.
Because I just if there's too many people around me, I'm just it's not worth it. I'd love to eat this popcorn, but I'd also love not to die.
Let's think back to a happier time. But you got the antibodies now, so now now you can
I'm basically Superman.
Yeah,
that's
true. Now you can just pick up other people's popcorn that has fallen on the floor, and you'd be like, obviously they're not eating it. But in your heyday, let's say, go back 3-4 years. If you were spending 6 hours at a movie theater to see a 3-hour movie, how many refills do you think that is? Is that a total of 3 buckets?
I think I could go through 3 buckets in that
Nice.
time. Because here's the thing. I used to do the thing where I would go to the AMC Burbank and watch multiple movies throughout the day. You go in with a jacket, you take the jacket off, you put the jacket half on, and you just kind of change your outermost layer, and they don't even give a shit. I'm pretty sure they'll recognize you and be like, cool, have fun. And you just go refill your bucket and your drink, and you can pretty much make a day of it. Mostly when I first moved to LA and had nothing else to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived in LA almost 20 years and I have plenty of things to do, but I'm still trying to see how many buckets I can get. And that's usually not, I don't usually finish the second one, but that Batman movie might do it. I mean, that's a long one, you know. I do agree. Movies have gotten needlessly long. I think like the exception being like Avengers Endgame, it was like, all right, it's like chapter 25.
Of course. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll give you the extra half hour. And I didn't think Spider-Man No Way Home was too long. I know it was long, but it didn't feel as long as it was to me. It was 2.5 hours. 2.5 is too long, but it's like all right, we'll allow it. When you get to 3 hours, it's like, you couldn't tell this story any shorter than this, you know?
Yeah.
You know, remember Batman vs. Superman? It was like, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now it's like, thank you for not giving us an extra 20 minutes, Zach. 20 minutes of Fountainhead spin-off stories, you know?
Oh, yeah, would love that. Would love a 4-hour Fountainhead. No,
what if you just took the cast from Batman vs. Superman and plugged them into roles in the Fountainhead?
That'd be fun.
Yeah, Amy Adams would be great in it, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the first, we'll just talk about Peacemaker generally, but maybe when the season ends, we'll do a whole special on it, and we'll ask.
Are you doing an after show? Or are you doing like a special?
I'm not doing an after show, but I think maybe we'll do like a one-off. And I want to do that for Boba Fett too. Which don't worry, we'll talk about him in a minute.
Oh boy.
Here's what I think. I think because he has now prevented us from talking about the series, Will owes us learning the choreography of the open.
I was gonna say, watching episode 2 last night. I really love this opening so much. It's so perfect, and that choreography is so bad. It's intentionally bad, but
but obviously everybody had to learn it. Robert Patrick is exceptionally bad in the choreography to the extent that James Gunn tweeted how bad he was, and Robert Patrick's response was, "Yeah, I suck."
Did he really respond?
Yeah. No, because of course.
Why would you be surprised that someone made of liquid metal is robotic and stiff?
I would think he'd be able to move like all crazy. But the reason that works is because it's not tongue in cheek. Nobody's smiling or treating it like
that's what I thought.
Everybody is selling the choreography like this is the most important thing they've ever had to do.
Yeah.
And the choreography for the opening, that's one where it's like, you know, skip open. Like, how dare you suggest that? No, of course I'm not going to skip the open. I need to see that. Yeah. And as somebody with my background in a lot of the music that I love the music in this show so much. That song I was not familiar of. That is a Swedish hard rock band called Wigwam, and that song's actually from 2010. But if you look up the video for that song, you'd be like, oh, this is clearly made in 1992. It's not. It's from 2010. Okay. But it's, and James Gunn has said that he was not a huge fan of that genre, the late 80s, early 90s hard rock. Some people call it hair metal. We do not abide by that terminology on this show. We are very respectful to Kip Winger and Nelson and Motley Crue and all of those bands.
We don't.
Well, a lot of people call it hair metal, but it's a very dismissive term. There's a channel on Sirius XM called Hair Nation.
I know that. Yeah, I thought hair metal was like what people said.
Well, it's what people say to be dismissive. It's a negative term. So what we should do is we should take it back. We should make it our term.
This feels like calling little people the M word, where it's like all of a sudden it's not cool anymore, and you're like, oh, when did that become a thing?
Yeah.
I refer to as hair metal fondly.
Yeah, that's fine.
I enjoy it. I like it. And I thought that was the industry term, but I guess not.
It's not a spoiler. There's a later episode where the entire last few minutes plays this Faster Pussycat song, House of Pain, and it fits in the story lyrically. So it's not a throwaway. It's not done as a goof. there's a whole conversation about Hanoi Rocks in the newest episode. James Gunn wasn't a fan of that kind of music, but he started putting it together because he just felt like Peacemaker would be, which I think is spot on, by the way, that these would be his favorite bands. And he said that he'd like put together I think he said a Spotify playlist of like some really great songs, and that they've made it into the show. So I think that the music is fun. The show is mostly fun. It's incredibly gory and so much swearing across the board, but I love the tone of it humor wise. Jeff, are you caught up on all 5 episodes thus far? We're not going to spoil anything for Will, so we won't mention the Superman cameo in episode 4. Whoops, sorry, Will.
Supergirl.
Whoa, thanks.
Oh, and did you guys know that the actress who plays Harcourt is James Gunn's girlfriend? Because I didn't.
Oh no,
I didn't realize that.
Since learned that because they like watch it together on Saturdays, and they do like a live tweet, which I think is an idea they stole from us, whatever. But nobody live tweeted anything.
Yeah, what has James Gunn done with his life? What a fucking Peacemaker live tweets. Dude.
Yeah, and I agree with Raging Rhino. The music is perfect on Peacemaker. And Keith's dead. No, I'm just saying for me personally, I know how some of those bands feel about it. He always called it hair metal loves Twisted Sister. I love Twisted Sister too. That's not
there's a comment from Ivan Soto that I want you to click on, because there's a part of me that really agrees very strongly with this.
Is this one?
It is not.
Okay. Let me.
Peacemaker
we'll get to that in a second. I wanted to. I've left Jeff hanging with a question. I will get to Ivan's question though. Don't worry.
Okay.
Ivan.
Okay.
So, Jeff, your thoughts on what we've gotten from this show, tonally, performance-wise, anything you want to comment on?
I think it's great. I think it's one of those, the production values there. You've got this guy. It's almost one of those when I saw a tweet about how they're like, we've got the best show in America, we're probably going to get a season 2. I was like, you better fucking flesh it out like you did this one. Because it just feels like it's a good show, because you kind of know the steps they're going to take each week to drive the main story. But at the same time, it's like there's no fat. It's like each episode is solid. It's not a bunch of wasted time. It's not a bunch of filler, which I feel like drives me crazy with movies or with TV shows today. There's just an episode where it's like, okay, why did we stop what we're doing to do one of these episodes? I don't think we need this anymore. We don't have 26 order network television across the board for every show. So let's get rid of it. Anyways, I really like the show. I think the acting's good. The action's good. The special effects are good. It's solid. It's a great continuation of the movie. If you enjoyed the movie, I would be really shocked if you didn't enjoy the show.
Yeah, and John Cena is someone who, of course, always known who he was. Is not someone that I've ever sought out in any way in anything he's ever been in. But I think he's great on that. He's perfect for this character. Mm-hmm. Just like The Rock has been perfect for many of the things that he's there. Look, there's some roles that are really good for wrestlers. This is one of them, and I think he's fantastic. I love Vigilante, who we get to know a lot more after the 2 episodes that Will has seen. But and I think that the cast in general is good, and the show is fun. It's funny, and I think that it actually works as you don't have to love superhero movies to like that show. If you hate them, you're not going to like it. But if you're just like, yeah, whatever, I just want something silly. I think and there's surprising moments of heart, not so much in the first 2 that we'll see, but they deal with some character stuff. And I'm enjoying it a lot more than other things that are on TV right now, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's 2 comments from Ivan Soto. I'll get to the one we'll mention. Is the eagle a puppet with CG enhancement? I believe it's actually a little person in an eagle suit. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't know. I do love Eagly, though. Eagly is one of my favorite parts of the show. And
you sent me a text message just to check on my status of whether or not I watched it, and you just sent me the eagle emoji and then the American flag emoji. I believe it was.
I wanted to make sure you were keeping up.
That's how you asked if I had watched it.
Look, I'm going to continue to send those to you.
Oh no, it was just the eagle. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. This is what you wanted to say. Peacemaker, atrocious. He killed a good man, Rick Flag, yet fans are supposed to like him. he was following orders. I mean, look, he was there with an agenda, and Rick Flag got in his way. He felt like he was serving his country. Does that make him a good person? No, but I'll watch a show about him.
If you had to like nitpick the movie and the show as one thing, it's like they cut all the character development for this character that could have been in the movie to put it in his show. So Fair. It's like making this thing about, oh, he's a dick because of this action. It's like, yeah, and the whole show is about that. Like that's kind of the central thesis of the show is like, wait,
he flashes back cool? to killing Rick Flag, I believe on multiple occasions. We say, and look, don't think they get a deal on clip licensing that from a movie, by the way. That's still pretty expensive. It's that important to the story that they use clips from the Suicide Squad. So I think it's an important part of it. But Will, so you're 2 in. You're enjoying it enough where you feel like you'll continue at some point?
I'll probably watch one tonight.
There's a lot of shout outs of characters. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a mention of a character that people were very excited because they mentioned a character that now everybody's like, well, it has to be canon because they mentioned Batmite. I don't know if that was okay. So I thought that might've been in one you saw.
Yeah, that was.
So people are excited. So it's like, look, it's in that universe. And I don't know.
What's Starro in there? So,
Yeah, I know Starro was in there.
What's Batmite? No, I am enjoying it. I'm looking forward to more. I just genuinely was bummed that Rick Flag was killed in the movie because I like Joel Kinnaman more than anything, and I was happy to see that character sort of be treated better and get more to do in the second one, and I'm glad that they brought him back. I was just very sad that he got killed.
I agree. Diebeard is great on the show. Steve Agee, who people might remember from the old Sarah Silverman show, obviously does a ton of stuff. I think he was a neighbor on New Girl, or he worked with Zooey Deschanel. I forget, but he played a homeless guy. That's what it was. Thank you. So yeah, a neighbor. He just didn't have a home, but he was a neighbor. See, this is the kind of stuff that when we do a Peacemaker special, we'll let Raging Rhino break down how Vigilante is completely different than Arrowverse or the comics. So I love this iteration of Vigilante. He's the one that I know. Look, this show is fun. I smile throughout most of it. Yes, I love the musical shout outs. I'm engaged in the characters. I'm interested in where the story's going, which is a lot more than I can say for Book of Boba Fett.
Talk about the filler effect. Yeah.
That's kind of part of what I mean, but the worst part about it is the filler episode was by far the best episode. Oh, The Mandalorian, much more interesting.
So here's the thing. Since The Mandalorian started, season 1, it was always like, are we going to get Boba Fett? We have to get Boba Fett. I really want to see Boba Fett. And we saw Boba Fett in season 2, and I admit it was cool. I was glad we got him. And then we got Boba Fett, and I was like, what? And it wasn't good until we got a Mandalorian episode. This is like they snuck in Mandalorian episode 9, and then they put Ming-Na Wen in the end. Like, oh yeah, let's get back to our story.
I kept waiting for that to happen earlier, and to be fair, I should go back and watch it again because I was actually pretty high when I watched it. But I remember being very bored at that whole episode only because I was mad that it wasn't about Boba Fett, and I was like, I appreciate and I understand the Mandalorian's going to come in and help them out, do something, but this is not fair, and you're wasting an hour's worth of time for what could be a fucking cool Boba. And all they do every time they have Boba Fett, he's just like wet from his tank, and it's just like he's the worst. I
never knew that if we finally got an on-screen Boba Fett series or movie, he was going to spend most of it napping. No one told me that that's what it was going to be.
Riding banthas for hours and wearing black
dances with naked. Tuskens. I mean, a lot of people are close to
Tuskens. That's it.
Yeah, and Will, you were messaging me, I think, at one point that the biggest problem is like, why is Boba Fett such a nice guy?
Why is he so nice? He's a fucking bounty hunter. He's a bad guy. That's the point. Yeah. It's easier for a Disney Plus series to have a rough around the edges sort of bad guy. And I get that they probably have rules where he can't just be like murdering people willy-nilly. But the fact is, like, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to be decent to people and be good and try to lead with respect and dignity. I'm like, okay, I just assumed that because you were a bounty hunter, you didn't listen. You fucking kill people for money, buddy. Didn't need respect. Get out of here.
I think you're forgetting the context here, Will. This guy got accidentally knocked by the back of a staff by a guy who was blinded, and that knocked him into a pit where he was going to get digested.
It's true.
So like he was supposed to be such a badass, and he almost died in the most pathetic, loserly way ever. So he probably is just, it was a humbling moment. Just like, I don't think that life is for me. That was way too easy to take me out. I'm not a good bounty hunter. I need to reassess.
I mean, that looks exactly like what has happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
what a waste.
It's and I think Tamora Morrison is great every time he says Tatooine. I love that. I love the way he says Tatooine. But I'm reserving final judgment on it for when the season ends. But yeah, it's a bit of a slog to get through, and I feel like this is one of those ones. I think The Mandalorian worked great as a weekly series. I think Book of Boba Fett is going to be a way better binge because if you can stay awake. And by the way, no matter what time of day I watch it, I usually do nod off for a few seconds and have to rewind Book of Boba Fett. There's always a moment where I'm like, wait, what happened? What I miss?
Did it get good for a second?
Yeah,
it must have.
Yeah.
That's why
those fucking Back to the Future 2 henchmen. Hoverboards don't work on water, kids.
You got no power.
That fucking chase sequence that was like
literally out of Back to the Future.
Yeah, but like also looked worse than like fucking anything the Power Rangers have ever done. Yeah. It was really
when you tweeted about how the crew, his new crew, Boba Fett's new crew was Griff's crew from Back to the Future 2. I was like, yeah, that's there's no one. And then but then it's like it really was like the chase sequence that's in every Back to the Future movie.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they did it in Back to the Future 3, and I was like, oh, come on. It was so cool in the first one that the way that with the manure. And then it was like, okay, you did it in the second. But in the third, come on now. Anyway.
Yep. Love a Pope joke.
I just want to say, it feels to me like this whole Mandalorian episode was really setting up the next season of The Mandalorian by getting rid of the obnoxious setup shit that they would have had to waste their first episode on, being like, so this is why he didn't go hang out with his crew again from before. Yeah. This is why he's not just an immediate badass with a lightsaber. And here's why he might be doing this other thing. Go.
And he misses Grogu,
And he misses Grogu.
Yeah, the little stuffed in.
Sam Whitfield lost interest in Boba Fett 2 weeks ago. You're gonna have to watch this one, or Mandalorian season 3 is not gonna make sense to you.
That's the thing, is like I was like, oh, I didn't realize that Book of Boba Fett was actually a 4-hour trailer teaser for the 1-hour trailer of The Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
Why is this? Why
they should
again? I was like, why are we wasting? Dude, this is episode 1 of this is Boba Fett property that we're wasting.
Yeah.
Whatever. We got 2 more episodes for fucking the Mandalorian to show up and always be. We got a cool Mandalorian who wears a helmet that looks like a Boba Fett helmet.
Yeah,
I think now what this has proved is like we could just kind of say fuck off Boba Fett and just do Mandalorian.
Yeah. Which, by the way, somebody had tweeted that the title of the episode gave away a reveal in it. So when I clicked on it, I didn't read the title, so I didn't know it was called The Return of the Mandalorian. So when you see that outline standing behind, in like that, in that like I don't know, that slaughterhouse room or whatever that was, I thought that was Boba Fett, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Mando. This episode might not suck.
Well, you didn't hear the music cue at the end of the episode before? Like,
I did.
I'm going to need some guys, and it's like,
but I didn't know that. I didn't know we were going to start off this episode with him in the beginning. And Dominica Saxon says Boba Fett should have no conception of being decent, not after decades of killing for money. Yeah, I agree. That's not why the character's interesting, but. Ivan says Boba Fett isn't even close to a good guy. Yeah, but you know what? They're trying to pitch him as a good guy. I would rather, I would watch a series about Darth Vader. I don't want to have them tell us that he's a good guy. I don't want to, I don't want a series about Anakin. I want a series about Darth Vader.
Well, you had Clone Wars, so there was a series about Anakin.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, if they do a Darth Vader one,
you mean when he's Vader?
Yeah, I want it as Vader,
pasty, like helmet off, and he's like, oh, yeah. Just for hours. That would
played by that elderly actor Sebastian Shaw, who is no longer featured in the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Looking to erase the history of David Prowse Vader.
So yeah, I don't know. It's having these shows. So Boba Fett comes out on Wednesdays, Peacemaker's on Thursday. If it gets to Thursday and I haven't seen Boba Fett, I don't watch Boba Fett first. I 3 weeks in, I was always watching it first, and this week I actually watched it on Wednesday. But that's just where I'm at. And I stand by a tweet that I had a few weeks ago, which was the Peacemaker, the hashtag Peacemaker greater than hashtag Book of Boba Fett. And I don't feel like it's that hot of a take, but you say it loud enough, Star Wars nerds are going to come for you, but I'm all right. Look, I hope something good happens. And I like Ming-Na Wen. I'm glad she's got the gig. I mean, in general, it was nice to see Amy Sedaris, but this really was a Mandalorian episode. So, her being in there felt like it.
I always forget the Amy Sedaris character. And every time she pops up, I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That's right.
She's basically their attempt to erase Watto because she's got the same droids he did.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
That is exactly
you know what? Yeah. So Will, do you have an Amy Sedaris impression you'd like to unveil here on the show live today?
Hi, I'm Amy Sedaris in The Mandalorian. Oh, no.
Sounds like Pinocchio. Back to bring it back to Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. And then Keith Stat has the point. We still need to find out who in their right mind slept with the Emperor to make Rey's mom and dad.
True.
I mean, they would have been with a clone of the Emperor, so he wouldn't have looked like that, right? It would have been like a young virile Emperor, wouldn't it? I don't know. I
think there's only one. I mean, Ian McDiarmid, like even in the prequels, he's playing him before he was like Palpatine.
He's very handsome at that point.
He's not though. Like he's always creepy looking.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe he was a very young man. So like, I don't think there's ever a version of the Emperor where you're like, you know what?
Here's the thing though. If he had a kid, wouldn't it have been before he had the accident? Because time-wise, Rey's parents likely would have been closer to age to like Anakin and those people, right? That's how she's the same age as Luke and all their kids.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
so am I confusing that?
I think you might be confusing that because isn't it like...
I was just thinking like, because, okay, so he would have had a kid closer. I mean, what I'm saying is I guess that would have been after he turned into a monster. I don't know. It would make sense if he was going to have had a kid. It would probably have had to been closer to age than Luke. That's what what I was thinking.
You know what? It seems like we all need to watch Beauty and the Beast again, and I think maybe then we'll understand that sometimes it's about the person you are on the inside. And you know what? Maybe the Emperor is just misunderstood.
He's got like one petal left on that rose, and he's so mad about it. He's just been taking it out on everybody else. Yeah.
A few other things that I wanted to talk about. Delving into the world of music, there've been a lot of things that have happened in the world of music. The first, sort of, if we go chronologically, was the passing of Meatloaf, and who I think was a incredibly entertaining figure. My wife and I saw a show he did in Vegas, I don't know, like 8-9 years ago. It was called Cocktails and Rocktails, but not the kind of cocktails that the friend we mentioned earlier would have been looking for in Vegas. It meant the drinks. But and so, he told a lot of stories, and he did a lot of songs. He was a very entertaining guy. And, even people just know him from Fight Club or Rocky Horror Picture Show, they're like, yeah, he's great. And I don't know. I think that, it's obviously it's sad when someone passes away. I was inundated by a lot of tweets where the tweets are like 280 characters now, right?
Is that the rule?
I think because they used to be 140, and then I think they doubled it. And so there were a lot of people that, they would have the heartfelt commemoration of his career and that he passed, and then they felt that it was important to mention that he was an anti-vax guy. I'm like, all right, I mean, this is the day he died. You don't have to write about it today. You know how you can tweet 2 tweets at the same time. You can click on the little plus button. I was like, that could have been the second tweet if you wanted to. That's just me. It's like, if your take is like, fuck that guy, you deserve to die, all right, that's your thing. But it's not like, oh, what a nice guy. Too bad he wasn't vaxxed. I'm like, well, how'd you squeeze that in there?
Like when Donald Trump was talking about, what's his name? When he was like dragging, what's his name?
I'm not sure I know what
Colin
you're
Powell.
talking about.
Colin Powell. And
Colin
he was
Powell.
like, oh, so lame, like all this stuff. But anyway, God rest him.
Yeah, no, that was
he's a big douche. What a loser. He's a liar. He's a piece of shit. He sucked dick for money.
Yeah,
but anyway, God bless him.
Colin Powell.
But that is that is exactly that's exactly what I'm talking about. It shouldn't be anybody's Twitter icon. I don't know, and I found it to be it was sad that he passed. I mean, he was I don't know, it was a funny interview. He was a guest on the Dennis Miller show once or twice. He was supposed to actually do the show like from Dennis's house at one point when we were still doing the radio show. It just sort of never quite happened. But I don't know. I always liked Meatloaf, and I thought he was he has some great songs, and the Jim Steinman, who was the songwriter that responsible for Bad Out of Hell 2, and then a bunch of other songs like Total Eclipse of the Heart from other people, was really the sort of instrumental in all of that. To the extent that, as Raging Rhino points out, it's a road trip tradition for Gene and I to sing Paradise by the Dashboard Light at the top of our lungs. Nice. And yeah, I think that it's I don't know. I think that you can be sad and you can think like, oh, I don't know, maybe I would have made a different choice if I was Meatloaf. I would have maybe gotten vaccinated, but I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. I feel like you don't need to do it all at once. But am I wrong, Will? Is it important to not overlook the fact? Is somebody trying to make the point that like, oh, he didn't have to die? Am I missing it? Am I too much of an old softy?
No, I think that is the point. Because the thing is, like, when we talk about COVID, it's like, guys, this is like now to a point where it's like, it's not preventable in terms of catching it, but like it could really, the vaccine's a booster, like you could not die. Your chances of living, very high. Your hospitalization chances, much lower. Like, what a great thing. And so like it is, to me, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, God, you died from something like preventable, and that measures could be taken in order to not get something that's killed almost 1 million Americans. So yeah, I mean, it does kind of feel, I get it, that it also feels a little bit like a cheap shot in terms of like the memorandum kind of tweet, but in memoriam tweet. But I don't know. I do think that person probably thought that's what their larger statement was going to be.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, and passing away on the same day, comedian Louie Anderson, also a past guest on the Dennis Miller show, was very nice. Dennis liked him. He seems like one of those comedians right up there with Bob Saget. Like everybody who knew Louie Anderson loved Louie Anderson. And fascinatingly, I know it's part of your generation, guys, that he took a show about his miserable, abusive childhood and turned it into a cartoon.
That was like one of the best shows on TV.
I love that show.
Good.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal on the show Baskets, where he played Zach Galifianakis's. Zach Galifianakis played twins, and Louie Anderson played their mother. And it wasn't done in like a campy, guy in a housecoat way, which, yes, I mean, the visual was that, but he was so great. He won an Emmy for it.
Yeah.
And I think
that was what made that show so brilliant, because it was basically like a giant clowning lesson by doing things like that are really silly and stupid with like the utmost seriousness. It was great.
Yeah. So to be a little hypocritical, when both of those things happen, I did have an instinct for a tweet that I did not send. I was going to post something about how Meatloaf and Louie Anderson died on the same day. Don't try and get a seat at the buffet table in heaven today, or something like that. I didn't even really fully formulate the joke. And then I was like, wait, I like both of those guys. It's not that funny. Like, do I need to send that? I'm like, nah. Now, I'm saying it on the show just in case it made somebody laugh. I don't think it did, but just in case it did, I'm sharing it here on the show. Let's see. Keith's dad. Really, though, I haven't met anyone who was like, I am anti-vax because Meatloaf told me not to get the shot. That's fine. Just like I haven't heard anyone say I do coke because of the Olsen twins. I
do coke because of the Olsen twins.
I was going to say,
now you've heard it.
Yeah. So everybody on this show. So Keith's dad, you have heard it now.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you know, they're the celebrity deaths are coming fast and furious, unfortunately. And
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, how would the word
franchise gets
family
COVID
be
in time.
utilized on his
God,
headstone?
what's
you
gonna
know?
happen?
Just
COVID's fast, but not that fast.
not that
Listen,
it's not that fast.
COVID doesn't have a seventh gear, Jeff.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel's always got one more upshift.
Oh, but the COVID's got NOS.
Oh no, it's not American muscle COVID. It's that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we could get. Oops, nope, we're not gonna.
Have you seen how fast
continue.
COVID can travel a quarter mile?
By the
COVID
way,
looks
Jeff,
at Vin Diesel, goes, "Dude, I almost had you," and Vin Diesel's like, "You almost have me. You even have your host. You can't have me."
By the way, Jeff, how are you feeling? Last time we did the show, you were still feeling it a little bit from the Rona, as they say.
I am good. I've been good for a little bit. There's a funny thing about, I don't know if I talked about like the work stuff that I had going on, but there's something funny about that I may tell you afterwards.
Oh, I can't wait.
We did talk for a decent amount of time.
We did. We had a nice chunk after,
was,
but it seems like there was probably more. So so we're talking about the passing of a music legend, and then there are a couple of crotchety old music legends that are on opposite sides of the spectrum, and I find them both equally annoying. Earlier in the week, Eric Clapton claimed that people vaccinated against COVID-19 are under hypnosis, which I thought was weird, because that's how I describe anyone who can listen all the way through to that shitty slowed down acoustic version of Layla. I think those must be people that are under hypnosis. And then also you had Neil Young on the other side saying that Spotify, you can either have Joe Rogan and his #1 podcast in the world and billions of views and listens, or you can have me. And they were like, "Thank you for your service, Neil. We'll go ahead and stick with the guy that we gave all that money to." And honestly, Neil Young standing his ground, saying what he believes in, it's fine. If he had said, I would like, if he hadn't done it as an ultimatum and he's been like, "Yeah, I want my music off Spotify because I don't like what Joe Rogan's saying," that's kind of fine. But you're like trying to get people. Like, you guys ever see the Western High Noon, where he's going around trying to get people to help him and nobody's helping him? They're just like, "No, that gang that's coming to town at noon. No. We're not gonna get your back. We don't want to die." And so I think Neil was like, "Right? Who's coming with me?" Nobody, Neil. We're not coming with you. We're gonna get our minuscule royalty payments from Spotify. And again, Neil doesn't want his music on there. That's one thing. By the way, Neil does not own his music, so his label Warner Brothers had to be like, "Yeah, I guess."
I heard that the label sent him a letter and said, "Old man, take a look at your life."
Yeah, well, he sings about the needle and the damage done. I think it would just be the damage to my ears when he put the needle on the record. We'll be right back. But I don't know. I think that there's so much attention to Joe Rogan, and it has to be because he made so much money, because he's doing the same show he was doing, and then I think a lot of people are outspoken about him. I mean, he's like my 5th favorite cast member from News Radio, maybe even 6th if I think about it. I mean, I'm probably putting Phil Hartman and Jimmy James up top.
Phil Hartman's #1.
Yeah, it's Stephen Root is #2 for me, hands down.
I could see
probably
that.
Dave Foley.
Dave Foley. And then
if we're just going to look at Andy Dick,
I don't know the name of the who's the secretary's name, the redhead.
Vicki Lewis. I don't remember her character name.
I thought she was always pretty funny on that show.
Yeah,
she was always pretty good.
Yeah,
he wasn't even that good on that. Like, he was fine, but it was just like his role was just to be like, "I'm too cool for this. I'm gonna fix something."
Which that's kind of his role now,
Yeah.
And I think he was like an alien conspiracy theorist guy. So
same person.
He settled right into it, And
you see the lizard people.
But I don't know. Will, what do you think about? I'll start with you on something like this. So, Spotify has made this decision to sign somebody to a very lucrative contract someone who probably does not make them a lot of money says it's either him or it's me. And then they go like, we're going to just go ahead with our investment. Thank you. Thank you again, Neil. But,
I mean, from a number standpoint, like obviously that's business, so I can't argue with anybody. But I also like love the fact that Neil Young is like, I'm just grumpy enough to be like, fuck you guys. And they're like, really? And he's like, I'm not backing down. And they're like, okay. And he's like, okay. And he does it. Like, at least he fucking followed through.
Yeah.
Hasn't he always been this guy? Like, this is who Neil Young is. So I think it's just he's an integral guy. He stays true to exactly what he feels. He doesn't really give a shit one way or the other. He's just going to be like, hey, I'm going to make this stand, not because I think it's going to make any difference, but because now I've made some noise and I've made a point and I'm living what I speak, which is
he also doesn't need
the government.
The fucking 85 cents worth in streams he gets after Spotify steals all fucking artist money and pays it to their $1 billion making CEO or whatever.
Well, but then also it does go back to the record company, and then the record company gives him like 4 cents from that 85 cents. You know, so it's like
probably like, I'm not getting any fucking money on Spotify anyway.
Yeah. So for him, look, Sam Whitfield, Joe Rogan isn't an anti-vaccine guy. He just has both sides on it. Drives people crazy. I think he is a guy who is not vaccinated, because there was that video that when he got COVID, he was like, I'm taking everything.
Ivermectin.
I got the ivermectin, the monoclonal antibodies.
I feel like that's like saying Aaron Rodgers isn't an anti-vax guy, where it's like,
Aaron Rodgers,
I don't know that he's not.
Might be a bit.
The fun thing about this is that people are like, they're not anti-vax. They're not vaccinated and they don't want to get it passionately. They're not anti-vax. They just don't.
People who are,
they just don't believe in it. They just don't want it. They don't like it. They don't think other people should get it, but they're anti-vax. They just want to, kill people with their bare hands, but they're not anti-vax.
And look, Joe Rogan does the show he wants to do. If he wants to have on doctors who discourage people from it, that he can do that. I mean, look, Neil Young has a song that Pearl Jam made sound a lot better than his version, but it's called "Rockin' in the Free World." But it's a long time ago. That's 30 plus years ago. I don't think Neil wants to rock in the free world anymore.
I can't.
Yeah, he does. That's why he was like, "Fucking Spotify." This is how I rock in the free world. This is the freaking streaming free world.
Now Will sounds like a song that we're going to talk about in a minute. But anyway, what were you going to say, Jeff?
I'm going to say I can't defend I can't speak to anything he's done for a while, because I definitely haven't listened to anything.
Do you mean Neil or Rogan?
Sorry, Rogan. For anything,
I literally didn't know.
He went to Neil Young. I just listened to Buffalo Springfield last night. Rogan. I'm saying, like, there was like that time years ago when I like found his shit on YouTube and was like, oh, there's some interesting stuff here, and I watched a few episodes and was like, this is pretty fascinating. And the one thing I'll give him credit for, not that I think it really goes very far, but at least from the episodes I had watched from forever ago, he constantly talks about, like, I'm dumb. I'm not an expert in anything. Do not take my advice as like critical advice. Like, I am not the person that knows everything or whatever. Now, that said, I think when you're making $100 million to just fucking talk into a mic, and you're basically the arbiter of who comes on your show, which is us, a very popular medium, then you kind of are starting to become like, you're deciding what gets on there and isn't. But I'm just saying, like, I think there was at one point some honesty in him being like, look, I'm a fucking dummy. I don't know things.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just that could just be one of those, like the Woody Allen, like, oh, I'm a wounded dog. Now let me get real close to your daughter. Oh, she's safe with me.
Look, the guy who used to host Fear Factor is not somebody that should be held up as we should be learning from him. No. And I mean, there's an amazing clip from I don't even know, 15 years ago now, when Jon Stewart was on Tucker Carlson's old show, and Tucker Carlson was trying to blame shows like The Daily Show for the discourse on politics in the country, and Jon Stewart pointed out, I was like, no, it's shows like yours. This was the old Crossfire show, and Jon Stewart had the great line. He's like, my lead-in is a show where puppets make prank phone calls. Like, nobody should be coming to me to educate them. And I think Joe Rogan, it's like he's trying to entertain people, and he's focusing on what he's interested in, So I think he should be allowed to, produce the show. Look, they paid for a show that they wanted. And look, I think even having somebody like, guests that they don't want. You know, they took down the episodes with why can't I think of the InfoWars guy?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Yeah, there's a reason why you can't think about me. It's because the lizard people did not want you to bring up my name on the show. And speaking of lizard people, Keith's dad points out the lizard people are killing all these iconic, famous people. We need to invest in S.C. Johnson and stock up on Raid to protect us from the evil sun rays. Thank you, Keith, for saying the thing that we all need to know. No, but I mean, it's just like, just make the show you want, and that's why you do it. And Neil Young, I don't think makes new music anymore, but if he wants to, he should be allowed to. He should be entitled to. And Keith's dad also with a different point. Can you be pro-vax and be against mandates? I know a lot of people who would say that they are in favor of the vaccine, but not making people get them to be able to go to restaurants and things. But that show would probably, if we did a show on that, that'd probably get flagged, and then Neil Young wouldn't come on the Bladtcast anymore. So,
I have a theory, guys.
Yes.
I believe it's the lizard people posing as people who are against global climate change science, because what they really want is to heat up the planet to make it more like a terrarium so they can thrive in their natural environment. I mean, just lay out on rocks, you know,
you're
sunning themselves.
You're not wrong with the lizard people. And by the way, any lizard people in the audience, we'll do a whole show with the lizard people. Just one lizard person. That's fine. That's really all I need. So while we speak musically, I wanted to talk about what I think should be the new theme song for the Bladtcast. You know, it's probably before we know it, it'll probably be our new theme song. Will, I understand that you had a chance to listen. Jeff, have you heard the latest Kid Rock song?
I have. Did you want me to play it for you?
I don't know if we should play it because it's so good. But then also, I don't know what happens to this video if we play it. You know what I mean?
Look, I got a minute.
Okay.
That I think you should listen to.
Okay. Yeah.
We the people, in all we do, reserve the right to scream "fuck you." Hey, yeah, ow. Hey, yeah. Wear your mask. Take your pill. Now, generations mentally ill. Hey, yeah, man. Hey, yeah. But COVID's near. It's coming to town. We gotta act quick. Shut on borders now. Joe Biden and others. The media embracing. John does it. They call him racist. The
It's a little distorted.
Just a little wordplay.
Let us go, Brandon. We the people. Fuck Facebook. Twitter too. And the mainstream media. Fuck you too. Two. Whoa. Yeah, you. We the people. Yeah. We the people.
If I never thought that we would have ever topped DJ Tanner. But thank you. Yeah, Jeff, please send that to me as a file so that for the audio version I can
finish it, because I only had enough to finish that much. I had recorded the whole song like that.
Oh, well, sorry, I muted myself instead of doing what I want to do. Kid Rock has a song called "We the People," and it sounds pretty much like he thought it would. It's hard not to laugh when the chorus really is "Let's Go, Brandon." The fact that there's like I don't know. I imagine like a gospel choir that has been paid, and they're like, "All right, you ladies have to sing "Let's Go, Brandon." It's like, the check's gonna clear, right?
Yeah. And like, regardless, I don't know what their like thoughts were when they got the job, and then they're in the studio reading the music. They're probably like, "God damn it! All right, okay, let's go, Brandon. Let's do it."
Kid Rock's got enough money, so they're probably like, "Great, it's a gig."
But he had to close his fucking restaurant in Detroit. How does he have any money?
Yeah, well, that's true.
Kid Rock's whatever it was called.
Based choir, so I'm sure that they're excited to sing this.
And Dominica Saxon says that takes me back to the 80s, cruising around, blasting my tunes, and then hearing the tape get unwound in my cassette player. That struggle is real. That definitely takes me back. In any case, so yeah, I mean, the song is mostly what you expect, but the reason why I want to talk about it is that there's like, I don't know, you're like halfway through it. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, you're trying to make a point that is like directly opposite of everything you said. Like literally there's a lyric that's fuck Fauci. There's and we know what, by the way, the Let's Go Brandon thing, it's not, we know what you're saying. It's fine. Like you could just say it. People used to say fuck Trump all the time. If you want to say fuck Joe Biden, you can say it. It's okay. You don't have to say let's go Brandon.
Are they just calling him Brandon instead of Biden? Is that like,
no? There's actually a clip from a NASCAR race, and the clip in and of itself is great. It just sort of spun out into its own thing. So there's people at a NASCAR race that are chanting "fuck Joe Biden," and so I guess it's not a sideline reporter for NASCAR, but so the reporter that's talking to this driver said like, oh, and you can hear them. They're saying "let's go Brandon." Because his name is Brandon. Yeah. So it did turn into that. It's a very funny clip because you're like, no, they're clearly saying fuck Joe Biden.
Yes. That's the thing is like, for me, I'm like, objectively, that is fucking hilarious. Hilarious. But after that, it's like, that's the only joke that anybody makes. Like, where is the self, like, the laughing at the self humor? Where are all the, like, when people are like, well, I think he's a funny comedian, or like, there's like, all their jokes now are just basically different variations of "Let's Go Brandon," which is like, go to take a comedy writing class and just don't be a troll. Be actually funny.
Keith's dad, no way someone ended "Let's Go Brandon" to a major record. Who would be that stupid? Kid Rock, you say? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Makes sense. He does make the point. You can say "Let's Go Brandon" in church and schools. And that's why it's popular. It is a little bit more PG friendly. It's true. Sure. I do understand why people say it. I just think that if Kid Rock wanted to have a chorus sing "fuck Joe Biden," he certainly could have.
But to me,
this song is not getting played on the radio.
The funny thing about it, but it's like a low key pretend to be tough kind of way of being like, "Fuck Joe Biden, let's go Brandon." I'm like, if you want to be tough, you say "fuck Joe Biden" and then you suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
Don't give me this "let's go Brandon." At least we said "fuck Trump." At least we said it.
Yeah. And by the way, I stand by, I've been saying it for years, fuck Zachary Taylor and fuck James Polk. Okay. I've never stopped saying that. I don't make any bones about it.
Zachary Taylor Thomas?
Yeah.
Yes, him too. So in the middle of the song, there's just a great exchange he has with himself. Black Lives Matter. And then he's like, no fucking shit. And we need unity. I'm like, wait a minute. Your whole first 2 minutes was about the opposite of unity. Like, what? So all of a sudden now, like, everybody needs to be united, or is it just, everybody needs to be united in what I believe in? And I don't know if he's familiar with his core demo, Kid Rock. I don't think he should have had a verse on Black Lives Matter. I think if he had stuck with the "Let's Go Brandon" verses, this probably would have gotten some airplay somewhere. But I don't know. I think that the interesting thing about it is that, to me, it sounds exactly like every other Kid Rock song I've ever heard in my life. And it's just as garbage as anything I've ever heard from Kid Rock. Ted Nugent, on the other hand, you can feel what you want about the man and what he says, but that motherfucker knows how to play a guitar. He's a very talented musician.
It's true.
Kid Rock, I feel very differently about. But Jeff, thank you for getting into the studio there. I appreciate that. It reminds me of one of Will Sterling's greatest hits about someone who's no longer with us, to the tune of a Prince song.
Another preventable COVID death.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we
didn't have vaccines at the time, so I guess that's not true, but he was going to crowded places and doing stuff.
He did go to an indoor arena where BTS fans had bought the entire top deck, or they claimed the tickets, so it was like a half full arena, which is a forgotten story from 2020. It was kind of a fun month. Yeah. Don't mess with K-pop. Yeah. Look, I don't quite know where this is coming from, but Sam Whitfield, Will and I should make a buddy cop show. Absolutely. Can I please can I please be your captain? And Whitfield, you're off the force. Give me a badge and your gun.
Yeah, you're a cop on the edge.
Yeah, and then Jeff is the one who's setting bombs throughout the city. And even though Will and Sam are off the force, they're determined to thwart. What would if you were a mass bomber, what would your name be in this movie that we're trying to cast as we speak, Jeff?
Make a Jeff the mass bomber.
It's too crowded bomber.
And,
because here's why I'm actually a good guy, because my bombs are just getting rid of overpopulation.
So
I'm trying to make it
so you're
that
Thanos.
There's less lines.
You're literally Thanos. Yeah.
There's less lines for things like movie theaters.
They call him
like
Doctor.
rides.
It's too crowded.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
the line's too long.
I'm setting bombs, but they're love bombs. Okay. And Dominica Saxon wants to be on as our man on the street, Huggy Bear. Look, I think that here's a reference from Keith's dad. At this point, obtaining unity is as unreasonable sounding a quest as sending 2 hobbits to Mordor to throw a ring into Mount Doom.
Did it.
They did it. Yeah, that's that series is coming in the fall.
And it only took Gollum to snatch it and fall into the fire to get rid of the reason that nobody was unified. So we just have to push.
Did you guys watch
Marjorie Taylor Greene grabs onto the ring and she falls slowly?
I was like, who gets pushed
into
Mount Doom? And it's definitely Marjorie Taylor Greene for sure.
She's definitely the Gollum of
she is
the
most
Senate
Smeagol-esque.
Right
yeah.
I could just see her like popping out of like a little hidey hole behind some of them. Like,
I remember one time she posted this video about like how tough she was, like of her doing kipping CrossFit pull-ups, and I was like, oh Jesus God. It's CrossFit. Oh fuck! Of course it's CrossFit government. That's exactly what you are.
Are either of you guys excited for the Lord of the Rings series that'll be on Amazon Prime later this year?
I'll check it out because I like Lord of the Rings, but like I haven't watched The Wheel of Time. I don't know. The older I get, the more like fantasy. If it's super dry, and sci-fi is the same thing. If there's not a little tongue-in-cheekness or a little humor or something, break it. Like it's just hard for me to do. Like Dune, I was like, this is so boring. I get that it's good, but there's no humor at all.
To be fair, there were not jokes in Dune.
There was a little bit, only because Jason Momoa's presence is very lovingly bro-y. You crack a smile because you're like, I like him. I like that guy. And then he dies.
What was his name? Jimmy Wisconsin or something?
Yeah.
Duncan, Idaho.
I know, Duncan, Idaho.
Patrick, North Dakota. I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, what about
Maury,
you, Jeff?
Montana.
Are you excited for Lord of the Rings series? You know, I mean, basically, if you break up all those special editions of the existing movies, you could get like a 12-episode series anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the movies. I think I rewatched them not that long ago. I'll probably check it out, but it's one of those things where I don't trust the decision makers at Amazon. Like there are shows that I have watched that are Amazon shows that I'll enjoy,
like Invincible.
Yeah, and there's a new cartoon like Vox Machina or something that's basically the same animators and similar vibes.
Is that good?
It was like 3 episodes. It was interesting. I don't think it's great, but it's interesting. I'd say I enjoyed Invincible more, but it's got some merit. It's got good voice talent. Like a couple people from a video game I really like are voices of a couple characters. The Last of Us 2, there's one of the main characters, Ellie. She voices one of the characters in the show. So I was like, hey, I know that voice. But just in general, Amazon shows, I don't know, like I'll watch them, and if I get into it, I'll keep watching. But I'm not like, oh, Amazon has a new show, better check it out, because I just feel like whoever makes the decisions, I'm not their target audience. You know, I tried to watch that Man in the High Castle a couple times, and I fell asleep every time because it was so fucking boring.
I did watch one of them. Did either of you watch? There was that David Tennant show. It was based on a Terry Pratchett book, Good Omens, I think it was called.
Same thing. I tried to watch it, and in the other guy, the one who plays the vampire in those Underworld movies, and he was in Frost vs.
Ted
Nixon.
Cruz.
No, British guy. I can't think of his name.
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
That's who it is. Yeah. So those two guys. I tried to watch that, but I just couldn't get into it.
All right, wait. We have dueling answers here in the chat. We have Raging Rhino says Good Omens. Keith's dad says Bad Omens, and then he follows up. Yeah, Good Omens.
Okay.
All right, so
solve that debate. See, we can't have unity, Keith's dad.
I also tried
look
to
what
read
just
that.
happened.
I also tried to read that book like 20 plus years ago, and also I watched one episode of the show. Yeah, I like David Tennant, but I was out. So, by the way, did you guys watch all those Hobbit movies that came out? I watched the first one, and then I only enjoyed the half hour with Gollum. And then I was like, I kind of don't want to. I don't care about anything else, so I don't. I just never saw the other two.
I like the sort of pseudo historical fantasy drama about ancient landowners called Good Yeomans.
What about you, Jeff? Did you see the Hobbit movies?
No, I liked the old one. Is I think the sequel to the one we'll watch that was called Surf's Up.
With Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
Shia LaBeouf.
Where he plays the penguin. Yeah.
And
I saw the Hobbit movies you asked. Yes,
yeah.
I've seen those. I watched those. I watched all those, and I watched all the Lord of the Rings not that long ago. Like, and by not that long ago, I mean like 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
That feels about like how long it took to watch them.
How much restraint? How much restraint do you think there was, Will, from the media as we know it? That tragically, the voice actor for the original voice actor of Charlie Brown committed suicide.
Yeah.
And how many editors had to step in and say, you cannot title this article "Good Grief"? I just felt like there was no way. That's another thing I knew not to tweet, by the way.
But you did get a laugh out of this one, which is so
I know.
sad.
See, that was
nothing funny about suicide.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
Suicide especially is very, very, very.
No, and I mean that's what think about what an important that's an actor who has touched all of us multiple times a year. October, November, December.
Where exactly did he touch you?
Ooh. In my heart.
Okay.
Do you think that when the studio saw that, they were like, "Oh, peanuts"?
Is that what people say?
God and the last time we talked, I had not seen The Matrix Resurrections, and now you guys did not go far enough. As friends, you were supposed to say, "Oh, but don't watch it." You didn't actually go that far. And either one of you could have gotten in the way and told me not to watch it. I watched it because it was about to leave HBO Max for free. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. And there's a lot of things that I think didn't work in it, but the number one was, why the fuck is Doogie in this movie? It took me out of every scene he was in, and it's fine in the early part of the movie.
Yeah.
But then when it's like, oh wait, so now he's like evil Doogie. No, I can't.
That was about how therapists are liars, and you shouldn't trust any diagnosis you ever get from a therapist because they're probably the machines trying to hold you into the matrix.
That's right. Let's go, Brandon. You're right. Fuck Fauci.
I can't believe how many Republicans are fans of Brandon Lee. I miss him too. Crow was good.
If that was really the major problem, is that they just loved Brandon Lee so passionately, I think we'd have a lot less problems.
I think we could all use a little bit more Crow in our life.
We could, yeah, for sure.
I'm speaking of Crow from Mystery Science Theater 3000, but that's okay. We could have Brandon Lee as well. I mean, it's like they spent this movie setting up a movie that I don't want to see, which is whatever the next one would be, and I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it. And I was just like, oh, what was happening? I didn't know. I don't know why that you want to bring back the Matrix. Give us all the stuff we liked about the Matrix. Most of us don't even remember the second and third movie. You could have just done like they did with Halloween and we're going to do a sequel to the Matrix 1. And you're like, oh, you mean a sequel to Matrix 3? No, we're doing a sequel to Matrix 1.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that if they released The Matrix Reloaded, you wouldn't go to see it? Because I would. Yeah. For that title, if they title it, because the second one was Reloaded, so if they title this one Reloaded,
what if it was Reloaded? Raging Rhino. Matrix Resurrections was basically the original Matrix with a warmer color palette and NPH, basically. And Dominicus Saxon. The idea behind Matrix 4 was good, but they just couldn't bring it to the table. I'm glad I didn't see that one in the theater. But you guys did not give it a ringing endorsement. So I didn't.
I said it was the second best Matrix movie. It was unnecessary, but it's, by the way, somehow still the second best.
Even seeing it, yeah, it's probably the second best Matrix movie. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Not a fan of the Animatrix, are you?
Oh, I do like the Animatrix, but okay. Does that count as a Matrix? I mean, I
don't know. Does it count?
I feel like they included it in the box sets a lot.
They did do that.
Another movie that I didn't see in the theater, and Jeff, I assume you have not seen Licorice Pizza, the Paul Thomas Anderson.
I haven't, but I really wanted to. I really want to still. Like the soundtrack alone, because I've been getting into vinyl, makes me go like, oh, I need this.
It's interesting that you say that, because one of my complaints was that it was set in the 70s, and I felt like Paul Thomas Anderson just went for like, what's the most expensive songs that we can clear and get the rights to, whether they fit or not? Because there are great songs in the movie, but I'm just like, man, just like, get a deep cut or two in there. But that wasn't actually my main problem. Will, you had a post about this, and Jeff, you know what the fundamental storyline is of the movie, right? We're not ruining anything for you if we talk.
I don't know a ton about it, but I won't be upset by. This won't impact your, like, if you saw a trailer for it or a commercial for it, you'll know for what Will's comment is, which is, I don't disagree with anything that you say. I have something to add as a follow-up, Will. But your thoughts on about
I didn't know this about the movie because they both look young in the trailer, but she's 25 and he's 15.
Yeah.
And it's like a love story. And I was like, we're not going to, okay. Well, and if the roles were reversed, the movie never would have gotten made. So
agreed.
Okay.
By the way, yeah,
cool.
I mean,
he's a genius.
Well, I guess Jeremy Irons would have been in.
Why is she 25? Why does she need to fucking be? If she was 18, I would get it, because it's like, they're kind of close. She's a senior, he's a freshman, whatever. That's a weirdy kind of thing, a high schooly thing, a 70s thing. 25 and 15, no, that's weird.
And by the way, I think that. I believe it or not, I don't actually know this, but I assume the age of consent in California is probably 16. So it's like almost
in California. I thought it was 18.
I don't know. Maybe it was in the 70s, because it sure seemed like it in this movie. Oh. Everybody was like, yeah, it's fine. I did find it, like, I agree. The same actress who I thought was good, and I thought that this kid was good. But she didn't need to play 26. Yeah,
no,
you could have said
kind of the same age.
If you told me she was 17, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I can buy that. Yeah, she just doesn't like him. So that, I think, was like, okay, yeah, this isn't great, but I think if I'd liked the story more, I probably would have just given it a pass. I think Bradley Cooper is fantastic. We can talk about that some other day when Jeff has seen it. Unnecessary, but fantastic.
You guys like peanut butter sandwiches? That's my favorite line of the whole movie.
But you're not the first person who raised the age difference. My thing was, why are more people not talking about the scenes in the Japanese restaurant in Licorice Pizza?
Oh yeah.
And I like that actor a lot. He's in like the Christopher Guest movies. John David Higgins, John Michael Higgins. I think John Michael Higgins. But he's like doing this really racist Japanese voice.
Yes.
In a Japanese restaurant with his Japanese wives, plural. And I'm just like, how'd that make the movie? Like, how is that in there in 2022? If that movie was made in the day that it was set, you'd be like, yeah, right. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, this is like an SNL sketch in 1982 that would have gotten cut after dress rehearsal, because it just doesn't work.
I thought that he was trying to illustrate some point about like, oh, look how things used to be, and then was going to be like criticize it, but like never did. That was just a thing.
No
and I was like,
why
is this? Yeah, is that in the movie?
Yeah. I don't know. That it was just like, I just remember I was watching it with my wife, and we're just looking at each other like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then they go back in, it's almost like, oh, you love that so much, you did 2 scenes of it. Okay.
And you could easily cut those scenes and it would have changed nothing about the movie.
I like Paul Thomas Anderson in general, but I think his recent output is not my favorite. I think that's not a hot take. I'm not going too far out there.
No.
This was, I think, better than what I've seen recently. You're never gonna, just to me, he's never gonna top Boogie Nights. But keep trying, keep making movies. I find him a very interesting filmmaker. I think that there were things about this that were interesting. But yeah, I just didn't quite get it. Keith's dad. We need more movies like the new Ghostbusters. I screamed in excitement at that movie. So many member berries. That was definitely, this is a good callback.
The member berries.
Oh, member? Yeah. And by the way, the member berries are from so long ago now. Now it's like member berries.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the new Ghostbusters? I know it's available digitally now.
No, I need to now that.
You did see it. Did you like it, Jeff?
I did. I thought it was fun.
I really enjoyed it. I was impressed because I went into it thinking like, well, they're never going to top the Leslie Jones, Kristen Wiig one, but I'll give them a chance.
No, I think this would have been a better movie with Chris Hemsworth, but
wow, yeah, it's all right. Let's put Chris Hemsworth in every movie that whether he belongs there or not. No, I was very impressed by it and I enjoyed it. And we did do a whole Bladtcast episode. If anybody has seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, after you see it. If you haven't seen it, you can check out our episode about it. And Lewis Cox jumping into the chat. I say this: Spider-Man: No Way Home made me almost cry joyful tears. I fucking loved it so damn much. Yeah, I've owned up to a couple of tears in that movie, and I do want. I think I gotta have to check it out one more time before it leaves the theaters, because I will probably do what I usually do and buy a Blu-ray that I will watch maybe in like 4 or 5 years. So, but if I go see it in the theater, but I still need to see Scream. I had hoped to have seen that before we did this show, but I did not get there. Anyway, so in general, were you able to enjoy Licorice Pizza, or did the fundamental conceit of the love story at the heart of it just kind of
I was able to like enjoy it for the most part as a movie. I just thought it was too long. There was moments, genuine like writing moments where I was like, this is where we round this out. And it was like, let's add 2 more acts to this. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because we're about to add 2 more acts to this podcast starting right now. No,
I thought
I know you have to go. So
it could have been like a Punch Drunk Love, kind of 90 minutes. Like that's the shortest movie he's ever made. That's kind of what I assumed it was. And it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I was like, oh God, it's another 5-hour day at the movies just to watch his sweet coming of age movie. Yeah. I guess I'm getting old, and like long movies now make me tired. I'm like,
he comes.
That is a spoiler. Yeah.
That's part of the problem, man.
That is part of the problem. I hope you get to see it. We'll spend more time on it after Jeff has gotten to see it. And I couldn't possibly mail you the Academy screener that I have. So I wouldn't do that, Jeff. So I don't know when it's going to come out for home release, because it's like still in theaters. In any case, this was our big Bladtcast 475 alive. Thank you to everybody in the chat. It was when we do it in the afternoon, we get a different mix of people who pop in. But Dominicus Saxon, no matter what time of day we do it, he's always there. Except for when I do like a 1 a.m. like Hawkeye season finale. That's when he draws the line. He's like, nope, I will not be there for that. But I think that our next episode, I'm going to turn to the best party planner that I know, me, and throw another birthday party for myself for Bladtcast 476, because my birthday is coming, and forgot what show I was doing. Sorry. So we will do that sometime soon. But Will, tell people where to find you, and I have it queued up. I the next time we do a show, I will have heard at least one of your new podcasts. I'm very excited about it.
Oh God, I'm yawning. How professional. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @WillStarling_. I have a new podcast called History Rated R, where I and my 77-year-old conservative he calls himself an authentic conservative because he's not a Trump guy. But we have our opposing viewpoints, but we talk about history, and he's a very knowledgeable guy. We have a very unique, fun relationship, and it's a lot of fun. We drink martinis, we eat food, we talk about the history of cocktails and food, and the history of the world and the United States. So if you want to hear a history podcast where we say fuck a bunch and drink, listen to History Rated R.
Yeah. So, you know, it's basically like Victor Davis Hanson After Dark, you know?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
That's you can use that in the quotes, the reviews of the podcast.
Loved History Rated R, like Victor Davis Hanson After Dark.
Yeah, it's perfect. Done. Yeah. Fade to black. Jeff, you don't have any social media to promote, although I do occasionally tag Do-Ray Jeff because he is still out there. So please don't take him down. I need to remember Do-Ray Jeff.
I won't. I'll leave that up somewhere. It's probably connected to my phone, so I can just leave it where it's at.
Yeah. And,
but I just have one thing to say.
Yeah. Kemi Egan wants Will to pour her a martini. We'll check out History Rated R or R-rated history.
History Rated R.
History Rated R. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you. Oh, wait. You got to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. Subscribe to the Bladtcast YouTube channel, BLADTCAST. You'll get this show, Marvel Movie Talk, Biden Time, and a lot of interviews that I'll start gearing that back up again. But we will see you to celebrate my birthday. Not this time, but next time on the Bladtcast.